My name is Sari van Poelje. I'm an expert in business innovation. So I help businesses innovate their enterprise more quickly than they innovate their products. And that way their time to market is very short, usually. So one of the things I do when I innovate businesses is I coach a lot of leaders in a lot of leadership teams. And the reason I coach them is because they're key in this road to innovation. I've been coaching leaders for about 33 years now, and lately I've been thinking, what is it that I actually do? And I thought, well, I think apart from all the theories and models I've heard and learned, I concentrate on three things. I concentrate on silences, stories, and sequences. Let's take silences first. So what I mean by silences is the things people don't talk about. For instance, they are telling me a traumatic event and they don't show any emotion. Or they tell me about a demotion or a project that didn't work and they laugh. Just a bit strange. So to be silent about grief or silent about your real anger. So I really listen for silences, and not only in terms of emotions. When I think about what silences I listen for, there's actually 5 sorts of silences or types of silences that are prevalent. The first level of silence is really when people don't talk about their feelings. So a lot of leaders are very free to talk about their thinking, sometimes free to talk about what they do, but they don't talk about their feelings. So the types of feelings that we're talking about is what is a realistic response or a real response, an authentic response to the situation that's going on. And I usually give leaders that are not very EQ, so emotionally educated, I give them a multiple choice. I say, look, there's 6 types of feelings, take your pick. It's angry, sad, scared, shame, guilt, happy. And tell me what you're feeling at that moment. So the first type of silence is about feeling. The second type of silence is about their behavior. So then sometimes they talk about the situation, but they don't talk about the behavior they had in that situation. They can talk about other people's behavior when they're blaming other people or shaming other people. Like they say, okay, so the project wasn't finished. I was the project leader, but the reason it wasn't finished was because sales didn't give their data on time. What they don't talk about is their responsibility and what they did in that situation. And sometimes that's a really relevant silence. Also, when people don't talk about their own behavior, they don't take accountability. But also it means they don't have any options because they're always dependent on others. So silence about feelings, silence about behavior. The third type of silence is about their thinking. So sometimes people tell me stories about what they've gone through in their leadership role, and they don't tell me what they think or what is thought. Which is a really interesting kind of silence, because usually leaders take it as their responsibility to think and think faster than others. The type of thinking I'm talking about that most leaders are silent about is reflective thinking. So they tell you what they're thinking in the here and now, but they don't tell you, hey, if I'm looking at that situation, I have a meta perspective and I think all sorts of things about that situation. What we're looking for is really to educate leaders to observe, interpret, conceptualize, and then to take action. So the type of thinking they're silent about is often the interpretation of the situation and the conceptualization. So how would I put that in a framework of thinking? So that's often what I tend to teach also during leadership coaching. So we've talked about silence around feelings, around behavior, about thinking. The fourth type of silence is really about more the existential questions. For instance, why am I here? What are we really doing? Any type of question that involves giving meaning to a situation and giving meaning so that people can learn from the situation. If I don't hear that in the way that leaders present themselves or present the situations, that's obviously one of the silences I'll pay attention to. So here we have it. During leadership coaching, the first thing we pay attention to is silence. Silence about feeling, about behavior, about thinking, and about purpose or the why, the existential question.